For exposure to works, there are a number of criteria that need to be determined. Number one, um, the exposure has to be willing. Okay. Someone can't tie you up and throw you someplace and say, uh, this is the exposure that you want, because you're just going to fight it. Okay. And that's not a good attitude of acceptance, to fight it. Number two, it has to be manageable. And what I mean by that is there has to be some sense that whatever you feel um, feels like you can somehow tolerate it some way. Because you want exposure to be therapeutic and not traumatic. Okay. If it's traumatic, then a person comes out of that exposure and says, you know what, I realize this really does suck. This is really the worst thing. Okay. I shouldn't have done it. I realized avoiding this for the last X years was really the right thing to do. So you're facing your fear in a way that is willing, manageable. You have to expose yourself to the correct triggers. That's a common problem that people have. So, for example, if a person has thoughts that they might drive off a bridge and they're driving over a bridge and they keep their mind focused on something else and they're just driving over a bridge, they're thinking that the trigger for them is the bridge, when in fact it's not. The trigger is the thought. And if they essentially are trying to crowd out the thoughts, they're eliminating the thought exposure. Okay, the exposure to the right trigger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and then the most complicated one of exposure, which is really, I think, the art of therapy, is somehow you have to avoid avoidances. And that little phrase encompasses a lot of different things, because most of us who have intense anxiety, I can tell you from experience, we become expert at avoidances, okay? And often we don't know it. Other people, we know it rather, but other people don't know it. Our therapists don't know it, whatever. So we become really great avoidancers. And avoidances essentially are obviate or change therapeutic exposure to something other than that. Okay.